So, Adrian,
Yeah.
talk to me.
About what? What do you want to know about my life?
I've been to a bar with you before.
Yeah.
I've been to a few bars with you before.
Yeah.
And you're the type of man to go to a bar and order a Guinness.
I love Guinness. I love Guinness or Blue Moon. Those are usually
I know
my
you're
go-tos.
Blue Moon boy, and as we know on the podcast, Shock Top can eat our ass.
Yeah.
Blue Moon,
Yeah.
I'll eat your ass, Blue Moon, if you're into that and consenting to it. But Guinness,
Yeah.
I can't really do Guinness.
Why?
It feels
Aren't you
weird.
Irish?
Whatever. I mean, even with food for me, I'm less of a flavor person. The texture really gets me more than anything. I'm a very big texture eater.
Yeah, you can't eat chicken sandwiches, right? Because
if there's a chicken sandwich and it has any single particulate in it that is like hard, I will throw up.
Oh.
Yeah.
I stand by the fact that I have had the 3 worst sandwiches Chick-fil-A has ever served. Each and every one of them. And this was 3 different Chick-fil-A's.
That's unfortunate.
I got a chicken sandwich and there was a vein in the chicken, and I cannot eat Chick-fil-A because my brain just won't let me do it.
That's so weird.
That's how
dude.
much that like fucks me up.
I've never had a bad experience with Chick-fil-A.
And that's what literally everybody tells me.
Yeah. I mean, I'm never going to eat Chick-fil-A ever again.
Well, they
but
hate
when I did.
gays.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, fuck those people. But
I like how Tyler turned to look at me because he knows I had Chick-fil-A this week.
Damn straight you did. You're
Did
a bad.
you?
She's a bad gay. She's a bad gay, and she'll
Wow.
admit it.
Okay, no, hear me out.
We're better gays than her, and we're
they
straight.
suck,
allegedly.
but they are also single-handedly sometimes maintaining my nutrition by making sure I eat and survive. So I'm like spiteful.
She may be a bad gay, but she is a living gay.
Well, that's
And
fair,
using
I guess.
their food to live.
Oh, you're playing the system.
Mm.
They're keeping a gay alive. Their worst possible plan.
Look, I just love their fries, okay?
That's
and
the
they
only
are
thing I can
usually
do
the
there,
one
yeah.
thing that they are usually, if I have a quote unquote bad item from them, it's usually their fries are like too mushy or something.
That's just a
I-
problem everybody has with any fries.
I disagree.
Yeah.
I remember loving Chick-fil-A's fries. More than anything, though, Chick-fil-A sauce is fucking amazing.
They sell it at like the grocery
I
store.
know that
go
they
to.
do. I still won't buy it. But I found out anybody who still wants Chick-fil-A sauce but doesn't want to support Chick-fil-A, they sell a very similar item at Walmart called...
Oh, yes, I've seen this as well.
I don't remember. I legit don't
I
remember
think
what
you
it's
told
called.
me about this because you're like, you should get this. And I was like, I don't eat Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, so it's what is that? G. Hughes sugar-free famous clucking dipping sauce. It is
Clucking?
the exact clucking dipping
That
sauce.
sounds really clucking.
It is
good.
the exact same thing except it's sugar-free.
You'll love to see it.
Yeah.
But back to the Guinness.
Oh, right.
Now Guinness, correct me if I'm wrong, Guinness is a lager, is that correct? A draft lager?
Yes.
Can you describe to me what it's like to drink a Guinness? The flavors, the textures, the scents?
I mean, okay. I personally like it because, like, other beers taste very, how can I say it? It's kind of like I'm drinking soda in a way. Like,
That's funny. I describe most beers as this tastes like peanut water.
Sure.
A lot of light beers taste like peanut shells to me,
Well-
like liquid peanut shells.
That's weird.
That's weird. Well, but not a soda per se. It's more like, how can I describe it? I've never been asked to describe a beer before. I don't know.
It's what do I call it? Pussy shit? Is pussy shit the correct term?
No. But more than anything, I just like beer for not particularly for the taste, more for the actual effect it has on me.
Mm-hmm.
But I like Blue Moon and I like Guinness because those are the only 2 beers that actually taste good to me.
Okay.
Like Blue Moon has like the orangey flavor with a little bit of alcohol in it.
No, yeah, Blue Moon is tasty.
Yeah, Blue Moon is tasty. And then Guinness I also find very tasty. Don't ask me why.
Now, I've had a Guinness Black Label, which is like the big boy one. And I would describe it as thick.
Sure.
And not the taste, but the texture creamy. It's almost
I was gonna
creamy
say
going down.
it's kind of chocolatey.
Yeah,
a little
I
bit.
totally get what you're saying with that. Not, it doesn't taste like it.
No.
It feels like you're drinking like a hot
Exactly.
chocolate or something, but it's cold.
Exactly. Yeah.
Lindsay, have you ever had a Guinness?
Yeah, I have, and I used to serve them at the bar. So there's a
Okay.
reason why it's the texture is the way it is, because it doesn't use normal carbonation like other drafts do.
Yeah,
That's where I was
exactly.
getting at with it. Yeah.
Now I'm glad you brought that up because Adrian, how do you feel about the soda brand Pepsi?
Pepsi sucks.
Okay, now
I
would you
much
change your mind?
prefer-
Would you change your mind
Okay.
if
What
Pepsi
the
made a draft cola brewed in a very similar way as Guinness?
I think it's
Yo.
gonna taste similar.
Here's the thing: be very careful opening it because they have exploded on me. But
Okay.
I opened one of these the other day. Hold on, don't open it just yet. I opened
We're
one of
not
these.
cracking yet. God.
Well, I opened one of these the other day, and it made the most deepest resonating crack of any can I've ever opened. So I had to bring you one, A, for you to try, and B, I need this crunchy audio.
Okay.
So I
okay.
need everyone to shut up
Yeah,
so I
shut
can
the
get
fuck
this
up.
in like a sound library, okay?
Lindsay, shut the fuck up.
Lindsay, relax. Jesus
Lindsay?
fucking Christ.
Open it.
All right. Welcome to another episode of. Holy shit!
I could hear that over my audio. Wow. And it did explode.
We have
It
napkins
did in
over
fact
here.
explode.
I don't know why they explode. I'm not doing anything to them.
I caught it. I caught the.
He hasn't
majority of
finished cracking it though. He only got the first
on.
resonation. Yes, sip
Hang
it off the
on,
top.
hang
Sip it
on.
off the top.
it. You're not gonna want to just right.
No, I have a second one.
It's actually pretty tasty. I'm
It's
not
really
gonna
good.
lie.
I actually kind of. I thought I hated it when I drank the first one, but I kind of like them now.
Okay. Hang on.
You got this?
God, I'm so afraid of it. I feel like we should put a tarp down.
It's so
done.
crunchy.
It's done. Hang on. Let me go get like let me go get some more napkins. Hang on.
You can have this one. Your hand is covered in soda.
I think it's gonna taste super similar though.
I caught most of it.
His sleeve is like dripping.
Oh. Well then.
All right. So he's gonna get some paper towels, but yeah, fucking crazy noise, right?
Yeah.
That shit
I mean,
makes?
like the initial crack I can hear pretty clearly over my end.
So these are called Pepsi Nitro. Don't know really why it's called that, but they
Because everyone keeps putting nitro every time they do some kind of cold brew shit.
yeah.
Okay.
I wonder if that's just like the name of cold brewing, like just that's what it's called now. All right, yeah, give me some of those paper towels.
Oh, sure. That's not a whole lot left.
No, it's enough. It's enough. I'm just gonna put this on my lap.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take this empty
probably
roll and I'm
smart.
gonna just throw that over there. All right, I'm gonna move my mic downwards, and here we go, baby. Everyone, shut up, Lindsay,
Lindsay,
shut
shut
up,
the
Jesus
fuck
fucking
up.
Christ,
Literally muted.
Lindsay, relax, Jesus Christ.
We're so sorry about Lindsay.
Oh my God, here's a crack for recompense.
Holy shit! That was so much crispier and louder than his.
It's the craziest shit you've ever heard
To
come
be
from
fair,
a can.
His was
I feel
probably a
like-
little better because like he didn't. Well, he like knew what was coming.
Yeah, no, I have the fear deep within me.
My crack is not going to be nearly as good as yours. Oh my god! Well, you didn't even say your names, so say
Well,
your
but-
names and
because
then
I-
I'll do the final crack.
Because I just wanted to open that. I needed the audio to be as crispy as possible. It's so smooth and creamy though, dude. Even when you look at it, it's all foam.
What's it taste like?
Pepsi.
Yeah, it just tastes like Pepsi, just with no
Literally
fizz.
no difference.
Well, okay,
Yep,
here's
it's
the
just
thing.
smooth as shit.
Yeah, it has no fizz, but it doesn't taste flat. If that
Is it incredibly weird to your palate?
Yeah,
Because it's very weird to mine.
it does kind of taste like a Guinness though.
Mm-hmm.
All right, hang on.
It's got a really similar feel. I don't think it's as thick as a Guinness,
Uh-huh.
but like it's
Not
got a
gonna
nice
be.
feel to
You
it.
can't.
Also, Tyler, keep your boner down. I'm about to take off my sweater.
Oh my God.
Oh, I'm closing my eyes.
Yeah, I need to turn off the cameras. Oh, baby. I saw a little belly button and everything.
All right.
All All right, I'm gonna crack some alcohol though, but mine's a bottle.
Sure.
Uh,
Here you go.
I'll drink the Pepsi Nitro throughout.
Uh-huh.
Wait.
I
right,
brought
because there's
alcohol.
No alcohol. Yeah, no, there's no alcohol in the Pepsi Nitros. They
No.
just all want to be cold brew without.
Yeah, we cracked open
Caffeine.
a cold soda, but like, what are we, 16?
Yeah, that's weird.
Welcome back to another episode of Crack Open a Cryptid. I'm Tyler Shively.
Oh, right. One sec.
All right, he's taking his time. Okay, really, really making the flow of this.
Sorry,
nice.
I'm really into that Pepsi.
They're kind of good, right?
Yeah. All right. Wow.
Oh, it kind of made a nice noise. If only it opened.
Yeah. I'm Adrian Castro.
And I'm.
Being cut off by
Andrews.
Discord.
I
Yeah.
Didn't hear it at
turned
all.
my decibels up, dude. Come on.
Well,
Or
did you
down,
turn off
whatever.
the little filter thingy? Because it's
no, that's
it's meant to take
why.
those
The
out.
stupid noise suppression is why.
All right, so what are we all drinking?
Sabotage.
Oh yeah,
Wait. I'll redo it. And I'm Lindsey Andrews.
Lindsey Andrews coming in. 10-4, good buddy.
So what are we all drinking?
Oh, dude, I brought an Angry Orchard today, and I brought you one as well.
Yeah, I got the peach mango. I think this was the one that I drank last time.
I think it is. I just brought the original because you can't go wrong with an Angry fucking Orchard.
That's fair. I prefer reds,
I
but
can't drink Angry Orchard anymore. It's just so sweet to me.
Well, that's because you're 15 years old. You're a 15-year-old boy, and that's you can't legally
No,
drink.
I'm saying I used to drink when I first started drinking. I only drank Blue Moon and Angry Orchard, and now I can't drink either of them because they're both entirely too sweet for me. So now I drink lagers usually, and Truly,
I should send you some Pepsi Nitro.
apparently.
so
and
you haven't graduated to the IPAs yet?
I will not drink IPAs. They're disgusting.
Does anybody in this room know what IPA stands for?
I used to know, and now I don't remember.
Don't ask me. I don't know shit about beer.
India Pale Ale.
Really?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because it was from the East Indies Trading Company.
Interesting.
I hate the taste of hops and like the fact that you centered
Same.
an entire genre of beer around just drinking hops. I hate it.
There's
so
only
much.
one situation in which I love hops, and it's when I'm playing Stardew Valley and I'm making a bunch of malt liquor and becoming a fucking billionaire.
Well, I have a strawberry hibiscus margarita style Truly.
Ooh, spoilers for next episode where I'm going to be drinking
Yeah.
that.
All right. So, Tyler.
Oh my god, that's right. It's my episode.
Yeah.
Let me set my beverage down right quick.
Oh, this is tasty.
Ooh, I love to hear that. I'm having some of that.
Spoilers
later.
for next episode. Tyler's gonna like
Oh,
it.
baby. So, I feel a little bad.
Why?
Because I haven't talked about a cryptid in a while. I haven't talked about really conspiracy theories in a while.
Is it the fuck beast? That's an actual cryptid. It's
I'm
very
gonna-
Bigfoot-like.
I'm going to need you to back up a little bit. Excuse me?
Yeah, so apparently, I think it's somewhere in the south. No. I think it's in the Philippines. There's a Sasquatch that it's spelled F-A-U-K, beast.
But it's pronounced fuck, or are you making that up?
I'm assuming it's pronounced Falk.
I would probably say Falk.
Yeah, but like...
Is his
It's
name
fuck
Tobias
beast.
Fumke from
I've-
Arrested Development?
I've never watched Arrested Development.
It's
I
all
haven't
right.
either.
It's okay. Arrested Development is kind of fun, but what I hate is it came out in the era of television where they needed a recap apparently at the beginning of every episode, which
Oh,
like
that's annoying.
yeah, I'm sure that
Yeah.
was like fine when it was coming out once every like 2 weeks, but when you're binging it and you hear the same recap for the first 5 minutes of every 25-minute episode every single fucking time, you get pretty tired of it.
So, what are we talking about?
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's what I was saying. I feel kind of bad because I keep talking about shit that's like real and not like
A cryptid?
fake shit.
Yeah.
Because the whole point of the show was to get blasted and talk about fake bullshit, but we're just kind of getting blasted and talking about real shit again.
Okay.
I cannot preface this enough. Everything I'm about to read you is real. This actually happened. I've been kind of obsessed with historical mysteries recently. There's one I want to do an episode on King Tut's dagger, because King Tut has a dagger that's made of like stainless steel when people didn't even know how to ironwork yet. So it's like, I'm sorry, where the fuck did you get that?
Well, he's a time traveler.
Well, no, they think it came from space. Point is, I love historical mysteries. I talk about the media mysteries. Those are real things that occurred, but this one, we're going to open with a little bit of role play. You guys want to role play?
I love role play.
Oh.
Wait, bedroom role play or like D&D role play?
Yeah, I
you
was
decide.
gonna ask that
you
too.
decide.
What if we did both?
We can do both. Just, turn off your cameras.
Imagine having to roll a D20 in the bedroom.
It's like, is it like, yeah, baby, that feels. Roll the D20. 12. Adequate. Yeah. All right, here we go. It's a warm morning in July. It's the 14th, you're pretty sure. You're running low on provisions, so you decide to take a walk to the market. On your walk over, you pass some familiar faces. You don't want to eavesdrop, but you can't help but hear them chuckling and saying, another villager has gone mad? You caught her name, Frau Trophia, but realize you don't really know her well enough to consider if her going mad was a real possibility. You try to shake off the idea, instead opting to plan out the rest of your day. That becomes increasingly difficult, though, upon reaching the marketplace. A small crowd is formed. They're all surrounding Trophia. They're all clapping, cheering, shouting her name. You notice her through the crowd. She's dancing. To be fair, she isn't particularly good, but who are you to judge? You watch for a bit before buying your groceries and heading home. Later that night, your elderly neighbor knocks on your door. She also needs to go to the market today, but she's a bit too weak to carry it all back. You're happy to offer your help. You actually forgot an item or two this morning, so this works out nicely for you. The sun is setting soon, but it's scorching hot outside. It's been like this all month. Chatting with your neighbor, you're having a good time until you reach the market. You see Frau Trophia. She's dancing and crying. Her feet are bleeding.
Is this the dancing plague?
This is the dancing plague of 1518.
Oh, I've heard about I know nothing about it, but
So,
I know that it was a thing.
Yes, in 1518, we're talking specifically about a town called Strasbourg, which was part of the Holy Roman Empire, but is now part of modern-day France. So what the fuck happened to Frau Trophia? Long story short, we have no goddamn idea. This is all real, but we're just not really sure what happened to her.
Like it was historically recorded
By many, many, many people. And this isn't even the crazy shit yet.
Huh.
One day, when out with her husband, Frau Trophia just started to dance. Her husband asked her to stop repeatedly, even demanding that she cease her frolicking, because she was drawing attention and that was embarrassing. But she asserted to her husband that she could not stop. No matter how hard she tried, she could not stop dancing. There was no festival, no music, no real reason to be dancing at all. And she continued to dance all day, all night, until eventually she collapsed from exhaustion. Have you ever legitimately collapsed because you were exhausted? Not like I had a long day and now I'm going to sleep easy, but I mean your body just gives out.
Once.
Did it feel good?
No.
Yeah? Can you conjure that feeling now?
Well, yeah, kind of. Well, it was one time that I had to go drumming and the people got super drunk and kept asking for like more hours.
You texted me during this.
I
remember
did.
This,
yeah. But no, it not a great feeling. It's literally like you can't. Like the very next day, I remember like I couldn't get up.
Mhm.
Like I needed help to go to the bathroom.
Oh yeah. What about you, Lindsey? You ever just collapsed from exhaustion?
I've collapsed from heat exhaustion, but not
That's still
like
something.
Yeah, I remember we were like, I wasn't even doing anything. We were at the batting cages, but I don't think I had even gotten to the batting cage yet. We were like grabbing a bite to eat before we started at the little stall. And the next thing I know, I was sitting in the chair. The next thing I know, I wake up and my family was like, "Your eyes just rolled into the back of your head and you were passed out cold." And I
That
was
is
like,
scary.
Yeah.
"Oh,
Have
cool."
you ever had something where you literally did not have control over a part of your body?
Yeah. No, I used to have really bad panic attacks, and like it would come with like the worst one was basically I hyperventilated and like crumpled on myself and couldn't move my limbs
Oh,
because
that
I had
sounds
no for
terrifying.
circulation.
And I'm
Oh,
sure
it was-
that doesn't
I
help
made
the
my-
panic attack.
Yeah, no, it didn't. I made my mom call the 911, even though she said they're not going to do anything. I said I don't fucking care. And
Yeah. I need
it's the one
someone.
instance. It's the one instance in my life where I wish I was straight because the closest emergency responder was a full truck of really hunky firefighters, and they
Hell
were all
yeah.
in my home and surrounding me. And I was like, this is such a wasted opportunity.
Lindsay's like, am I bi? What about you, Adrian? You ever just lose control of a part of your body?
I mean, do boners count?
No.
Then no.
No.
I mean, I've had the thing where, like, you know, like I'm in class and they call on me, but like,
And you're just stiff as a rod.
yeah.
And you get up, pull your pants down, walk up to the front of the room and go, take a picture, why don't you? And then do the math problem incorrectly? Just me?
Yeah.
All right. The only time, there's 2 times where I didn't have control of my body. One is much more mild than the other. I will never drink a 5-hour energy again. Adrian, you were
Oh,
here
I
for
don't
this.
blame you, dude.
Was I the one who told you to drink it?
Yes, you
Because
did.
I know that it's happened.
I was dying because I have really, really bad insomnia. And I went to school one day because Adrian and I went to college together. And I was like, I'm going to actually fucking pass it. I don't know how I'm going to drive home. And he was like, have you ever had a 5-hour energy? And I was like, no. And he goes, drink one. I think you bought it for me. I drank it. It was the only time my hands were trembling and I couldn't control it. It freaked me out. That's way more mild. When I threw out my back for the first time, like the real pinched my sciatica, collapsed, I remember how scared I was by the fact that I physically could not sit up. That scared the shit out of me. Like I was trying. It wasn't even like, oh, it hurts too bad. My body would not do it, and that scares the shit out of me, dude.
No, I've had that twice already in my life. It's the worst feeling in the world. Hopefully you never have to deal with that, Lindsay.
Yeah, Adrian and I both have the spines of an 80-year-old man.
Yeah. Yeah. I felt really bad about it too because I remember you had it and then I made fun of you and then next week the same thing happened to me.
And I didn't even shit talk you for it. I was just like, it sucks, huh?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, no, it's the worst feeling in the world.
So when you lose control of your body, when you collapse from exhaustion, it doesn't feel great, is what we're getting at. It's a scary, very uncomfortable thing. So when Frau Trophia danced all day, danced all night, and then collapsed, you would think when she woke up, she'd just be kind of fucked up. But when she woke up, she immediately stood up and continued to dance.
Question.
Hit me.
So this dancing, did anyone was it like a specific type of dance?
No.
Or was it just like her body was convulsing?
See,
and
now,
they interpreted that as dancing.
I'll get into it a little bit more later, but there is a weird thing about this where every single documentation of this, every single record, every single eyewitness account uses the term dancing. Now, dancing is kind of a weird term because how do you define dancing? Especially because back then, dancing would have been different than it is now, right? But they had words for convulsion and twitching, and they'd never really used those, but nobody actually describes the exact movements that were happening. They all just say that these people were dancing. Okay. Which is just kind of weird, right?
That's definitely weird.
In my head, I just keep picturing a lady doing the Commander Shepard dance until the end of time.
I've been imagining them doing the Fortnite Orange Julius dance.
Which one is the Orange Julius? Can I get a...
Oh, literally could not even begin to tell you how to do it or show you.
Maybe she was just doing the floss.
Either one. She's just doing Fortnite dances. Now, a few girls in town saw her, and before realizing that this was a problem, they were like, that looks like fun. Let's go dance with her. You know, whatever. It'll be fun. It'll be cute. Those girls then soon realized that they also could not stop and started begging and pleading for people around them to help them stop dancing. By the end of the summer, 2 months later in September, half the town had literally danced themselves to death. The causes of death ranged from strokes and heart attacks all the way to starvation and dehydration. People died from this because they couldn't eat and they couldn't drink. Others died just because their bodies gave out. This was a terrifying, really, really fucking weird event.
I mean, all right, there wasn't a thing like a correlation besides like they just came into contact with whoever was dancing and that's it.
Here's the thing. Not even people who came in contact would do it. Eventually, people just started coming out of their homes already dancing and just went over and joined them dancing. They had no contact with Frau Trophia or anybody else who was infected. And I should hesitate to say the word infected, because while this is touted as the dancing plague, we don't know if it was like a sickness that could spread. It just appears like it was. But just keep that in mind, right? Now let's go back to the beginning of this timeline, when Frau Trophia first started dancing. Obviously, seeing a mad woman dancing herself to death was a bit concerning to the village elders. So the elders of Strasbourg, and much like every other problem in medieval times, decided to blame this on demonic possession.
I was about to say,
Of course.
it's like witchcraft.
Yeah, so they were like, oh, a demon's possessed her, we need to save her. So they called up priests, bishops, all kinds of clergymen to come and bless Frau Trophia and the few others who at this point had gathered with her. This actually resulted in an increase in dancing, because now some of the clergymen had seemed to have joined in on the fun, dancing with them. So, okay, thought the elders, it must not be the devil, because these holy men wouldn't be so easily affected by the devil like this. So maybe this is the opposite. Perhaps this is divine intervention. You see, nearby was a shrine locally. It was a local shrine that was dedicated to Saint Vitus. Saint Vitus would later be known as the patron saint of seizures, mental illness, and dancing. Those were like his things, right? But they believed that if you did not properly worship Saint Vitus, that you would then be cursed to dance, because that's what some of his stories said, that people would just start dancing for a crazy time. But I don't want to go super into Saint Vitus just yet, so just remember Saint Vitus. Patron saint of dancing, patron saint of mental illness and seizures. He has a shrine nearby. Just remember this man.
Sure.
But it clearly turned out that this was not divine intervention. Saint Vitus wasn't punishing these people. We were pretty sure. So, all right, that didn't really pan out. A lot of these people are good folks. Maybe this isn't godly at all. So they decided now, probably about a month in, to call in some local physicians.
It's the part where they just start arbitrarily bleeding everybody, because that's what they did.
There was no bloodletting, but you're on the right track with blood. These physicians...
Can I take a stab at it?
Oh, hit me.
Is this something to do with, like, blood heating or whatever?
You, my sir, are a scholar.
Yeah, I remember that was, like, a thing that they thought could happen.
Now, these physicians were itching to study these people, but they didn't have permission until now. But they all came together and agreed that this was a case of hot blood. Hot blood was a fever. It was what essentially they called a type of fever where your blood literally begins to overheat. Now, your blood can overheat. This is a thing that can happen, but we call it prickly skin.
Right.
Because when your blood starts to literally boil, it feels like your skin's prickly. Thank God I've never had that. Apparently, my mom did once. And she said,
it's horrifying.
oh yeah, she said it's like the scariest thing she's ever felt. But they believe that if your blood would overheat, you would be forced into moving, just moving like crazy. Now that could mean running around in circles. That could mean doing jumping jacks, squats, whatever, just movement. So it's not a huge jump to think if they believe that hot blood causes you to move, maybe hot blood is causing these people to dance, because they believed it was a real thing, right? But the thing about hot blood was that there was a one and only cure for it. Fucking dance, baby. They genuinely believed that to cool your blood back down, to tell your body it doesn't need to be this hot, that you had to keep moving. No matter what you're doing, you just had to keep moving even more than it was making you do it. So they decided to tell these people to dance even fucking harder.
This has got it. Like, if I were that physician or like that group of physicians, I'd be like, yo, probably if things are overheating, we'll just like throw them in the ocean and let them cool down naturally. But wouldn't it be funnier if we told them to do the thing even more? That's what this all sounds like to me.
You know, these screaming, crying, bleeding, starving, dehydrated people, just fucking dance it off, baby. Just gyrate away. But they obviously were like, that's not gonna fucking happen. So the village elders wanted to push this forward a bit, so they paid for an enormous stage to be constructed in the center of town. They called in musicians, actors, bards, minstrels, local and abroad, to come on in and start performing for these frolicking fools. And this, of course, resulted in even more dancers, as now the performers couldn't stop dancing.
Oh my god.
And now they were all on a stage with people partying around them. So we're now a month and a half, almost 2 months in. The dancers kept dancing, obviously, but now a bunch of them were just fucking dying. At the height of this event, brace yourself for this, at the height of this, nearly 15 people per day were dropping dead.
Jesus Christ.
15 people per day dropping dead from dancing their asses off.
I just thought that this was like like one of those things where like, oh yeah, like 20 people died and we don't know why.
There's estimates of an upwards of 20,000 people were affected.
That's oh my god.
Can you fucking imagine?
And we still don't know what happened with these people.
We don't. And I'll talk about theories at the end, but yeah, we have no goddamn idea. The goal, by the way, as you can probably imagine, was like if you were, on the whole, let me back up. If you saw this happening and you were charged with fixing this, what would you, as an educated modern person, think to do?
Modern wise, or like if I was a doctor?
Modern, like right now.
Okay. I mean, well, what can we do really? Just run a bunch of tests on them, like see if what the fuck is wrong, I guess.
How are you going to run the test?
I would
strap them down.
Strap them down? Okay, Lindsey, what were you thinking?
I would probably do like what you call it, tranquilizers, and then throw them in the an ice bath and then start drawing blood and shit.
So Lindsey's looking to trank him, which will make him stop dancing. Adrian, you're looking to strap him down, which will make him stop dancing. So you're actually on the same track as the elders, but it took them like a month and a half to figure this out. We need to make them stop dancing. Just first and foremost, they're dancing. It is killing them. We should stop them from dancing. It's a logical conclusion. Why it took them this long is beyond me. So they decided.
Did they just like walk up to them and sock them in the face to knock them out?
Even dumber. They decided the best way to stop them now was to hire strongmen from across the realm to come and hold these people down.
Oh, God.
Just stop them from moving entirely. But oops, now some of the strongmen are dancing.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Okay, so
just punch them all.
So let's mix some theories together, right? Maybe those physicians were at least kind of right, but the dancers were collapsing too often, right? The physicians wanted them to keep dancing even harder, but the people kept collapsing every couple days, so they couldn't shake it off because they were stopping. They stopped dancing. So what if we got the remaining strongmen to hold them aloft so that they could keep dancing even when they were dying?
That, I mean, well, just to have them dancing more in general is a bad idea.
It actually resulted in them running out of strongmen.
Yeah.
Because now they're all dancing. So there's just an enormous group of dancing people. So obviously, the next thing you do is you go full footloose. Make dancing illegal. It's a crime. They're not going to break the law. They'll stop dancing if it's against the law.
I mean, if they wanted to stop dancing.
This is the last thing they tried. Making it illegal to dance.
1500s are crazy, dude.
Obviously, this didn't fucking work, but it was still a crime, and all these people were breaking the law. It's illegal to dance, and perpetrators gotta be punished. So what they did is they put them on red shoes. Don't ask me why, that's just what they did. Put them on red shoes, and they took them to the shrine of St. Vitus, remember him, and forced them to dance around his statue for penance. This shrine was up in the mountains, secluded, isolated, and thus accidentally created a perfect quarantine area. They accidentally Raccoon City'd these people. Just locked them all in the mountain pass so they could dance around the statue.
And then they nuked it.
Well, they didn't nuke it, but all of the dancers stopped. Either from dying or some of them just managed to stop dancing.
I have a logistics question.
Hit me.
If they're non-stop dancing, how did they get them to put the shoes on?
I imagine that was part of the strongmen holding them. They just kind of like pick them up.
Yeah, and then they're just like essentially giant toddlers.
Literally exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah. I can imagine that. Sure.
So we're about halfway through. Can I get your thoughts on the dancing plague of 1518? How you feeling so far?
I mean, probably these people just it's just like a mass stroke shit or something. or like they had some disease that is now extinct.
Okay.
That gave people strokes.
But how would you feel? Remember, we were role playing earlier. How would you feel just seeing this shit happen?
I mean, if I was in the 1500s, I'd be fucking terrified.
I'd be terrified in 2022.
Sure.
Like that
I
flash
feel
mob
like-
has been going for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is the shittiest flash mob ever. I'm going home.
Yeah, like, they're not singing anything.
No, they're just bleeding and crying.
Yeah.
That does not interest me.
Maybe it's just an art piece. I don't know.
An art piece where you fucking die.
I've seen weirder shit in LA.
Yeah, no, there's weird art pieces where people like pretend to die. So you know,
Yeah, but these people were like actually dying. But if we want to talk weird, there's actually some extra little oddities about this outbreak that I just kind of wanted to toss at you here.
Like odder than what it already is?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
So when someone first began to dance, let's go through this, right? Someone first begins dancing. You could see their faces begin to contort into fear and worry. They clearly, very clearly, did not want to be dancing. Some of them, not all, but some were able to cry out for help. They would plead to anyone who would listen and try to explain what was happening to them, but they just couldn't really do it. Eventually, their faces, instead of being crying and scared, would just return to a default resting state. They would stop speaking, they would stop eating, they would stop drinking, and they would enter a trance-like state and would not be able to recognize or register anything around them. They would just be dancing with no emotion, no voice, no feeling, just dancing like in a trance.
It sounds like maybe like their body's just like running on pure adrenaline and they've like just passed out essentially and have no more energy.
Yeah, I had the same feeling for it. I also think about the fact of them trying to explain it but just can't. They like can't get the right words out and they won't eat or drink. A real disease that is still around, rabies, has this weird quirk of it where people who have terminal rabies, they won't drink water. They'll become scared of drinking water. There's one video, I've seen it and it terrified the shit out of me. Watching this guy, they handed him a cup of water and he was clearly trying to drink it, but he couldn't. And eventually he just like dropped it. And it's like that gives me the same feeling of like they just can't do something. And that's so fucking scary to me that you just can't do a simple thing. Now, a few of these dancers, right before the trance took over, they would start seeing horrible visions that they could only barely describe. Most seemed terrified from whatever vision they were seeing, and it only worried them more, obviously. But these would eventually fade when the dancer could no longer hold their autonomy anymore. But some of them, for days, were screaming and crying about seeing visions of just hallucinations or visions of the future or something, and they would freak the fuck out. Because wouldn't you? You can't stop dancing, and now you see like a monster or something?
I mean, all right, do we have any specifics on what they were seeing?
No. Because they would just scream about things, and it's like going to a gas station and have like a crackhead start yelling at you about some shit, and you're like, all right, dude.
No, like I know a crackhead that hangs out at the McDonald's right next to the McDonald's in San Bernardino. That like every once in a while he'll like just stand up and like shoot mind bullets at my car.
Damn, I'm glad you got out of there safe.
Yeah, no kidding. Don't need to be matrixing that shit.
Now, it is also interesting to note, in my opinion, that the dancers weren't spread throughout the village. So when you think of a plague going out, like an epidemic, let's just talk about like the common cold, right? You get the cold because you typically came in contact with someone who has a cold, or someone who had a cold came in contact with something that you also came in contact with, right? And so it spreads.
Sure.
But then that person goes home to their home, which can be miles and miles away, and they're sick. And then you go to your home miles and miles away, and then you're sick. So that's two separate instances of being sick, and they're in completely different locations, right?
Right.
That's how sicknesses tend to work. But here, people were starting to dance, but they would all weirdly, they weren't spread throughout the village. When someone started to dance, they would congregate in these random areas. So there'd be like 4 or 5 spots in the village where all the dancers were. And they seemingly willingly went to that location. They didn't just start dancing and then there was nobody around them. They would start dancing and then dance their way over to a group of dancers.
So how long before we decide that witchcraft is involved?
Well, witchcraft wasn't involved, you see, because the clergymen were also dancing.
Oh, okay, that doesn't matter.
But it's weird. Adrian, it's like you read the fucking outline.
I haven't. I actually
He has not. I did not share this one with him because I didn't want to tell anybody about this because I think this is crazy. Keep the idea of witchcraft in your brain.
I just saw The Witch. That's why.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh, okay.
immediately going to that.
So things to hold in your brain still. Witchcraft, Saint Vitus, red shoes. Just keep those in your brain. Now.
It's gonna be. I can't stop thinking of like the Scarlet Letter for some reason.
But so yeah, there were these small pockets where the infected just hung out. They could be moved as they were, put on the stage at one point, but they seemingly preferred to be in whatever area that they were drawn to. I can't even fucking begin to explain like what causes that.
I mean, it's just witchcraft. I mean, I saw The Witch. I saw Suspiria recently, and it's always the same shit. Like, it's just. Well, have you seen Suspiria?
What the fuck do you think?
No. Of course not.
I've never even heard of that.
Okay, it's on Amazon
Same.
Prime. It's on Amazon Prime, but the whole thing revolves around a dance academy.
Oh, hell yeah.
That is an affront for a witch coven.
Okay, dope. I'm in.
Like when somebody betrays the coven, the way that they get killed is one of the witch dances, and it like affects the other witch, and so like the other witch kind of like dances in the same way, but it like breaks your bones, and it's really gnarly.
Gross, weird, bloodbending.
Yeah, essentially it's bloodbending.
Okay. So yeah, just some extra weird things about the people who are affected, right? Like the trance-like state, the visions, the wanting to congregate in areas. It's so fucking weird.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
So what could possibly cause something this fucking bizarre? I know you guys have mentioned a few things, but let's talk about the leading theories. We have to start off by being totally clear, though. We as a species, as the human race, have no way of genuinely knowing what happened.
Right.
We weren't there. We have theories, but this plague actually vanished around the 1600s. It existed for about 300 years, and we'll get into that. It existed for about 300 years and then just disappeared.
Okay.
So there's not been a case of this since the 1600s. Early 1600s.
Who we should ask?
Who should we ask?
We should ask Nicolas Cage because he's actually a vampire who's been
That's
around.
true.
Since,
That's
I want to see that movie he made about himself.
Apparently, it's been getting amazing reviews.
Apparently, he is wildly proud of it too, and it's just kind of cute.
Yeah, he's been on Reddit doing AMAs,
yeah,
right?
constantly.
Also, we gotta watch what is it? Everything Everywhere all at once or whatever it's called.
Oh yeah. I do want to see that.
Yeah, apparently the kid from the second Indiana Jones movie's in it in his first role in like 40 years.
The one that was the really racist, stereotyped Asian boy.
Yeah, that guy.
Nice. Have you watched
Oh,
Indiana
damn.
Jones like fairly recently? By the way, either of you?
Yes, I watched it every year.
Damn, those are some misogynistic movies. Fun, but he is a little bit rapey.
They were made in the 80s.
It is an unfortunate product of the time.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
the girl Marion in the first movie, I think she was only like 15 when we first.
I thought it was 16, but still.
16, yeah.
Ugh.
And he's a college professor.
Oh boy.
Woo! But yeah, so we have no fucking idea what happened, but we do have people who have made guesses about what has happened. Yes, Lindsay? I see your finger up.
Oh, that my finger is up because I'm trying not to chew into the microphone.
That's fine. You can chew into the
My microphone.
We'll pick
You
it up.
see, like when it's lit up, it means I'm not muted.
Oh,
But when
yeah, I
the
see,
light
I
goes
see.
out, I'm muted. Yeah.
Yeah, Lindsay's a Frito monster. She'll chew right into the mic.
I'm sure there's some listeners out there who are into listeners who want to hear Lindsay's chewing. Please get into the comments.
Yeah, please comment
God.
whether or not you would
Look,
like to hear.
as long as I don't have to hear it.
Listen, if you want Lindsay to eat an entire bag of Fritos directly into the microphone, Please let it be known.
I would do that.
Uninterrupted. No, yeah, we won't even be there for it. I'll just put it up with no context and just
I'll ASMR that shit.
I'll just say it'll just be called FritoMonster.mp3.
How many
Like 26.
26. All right. If we get to 100 by the end of the month, we'll put out a video where Lindsey just eats Fritos.
I'll even have the camera on.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
it'll be a visual representation of me just eating Fritos.
Like a staring contest. She'll just look straight into the camera. And just one Frito at a time.
Look, as long as I don't have to hear it, I'm fine with that because I get like real bad misophonia with people's like mouth sounds.
All right, and if we can double that, I'll eat a whole jar of peanut butter directly into the microphone. Oh yeah.
I do eat peanut butter out of the jar too.
Thank you. It's normal. It's a normal thing to do.
It's normal.
I will make 200 fake accounts. I want to see that so bad.
I love peanut butter, dude. Are you crunchy or smooth peanut butter type of folk?
It depends on the day.
If you're just eating it straight out of the jar.
Straight out of the jar, I want it to have some texture. Yeah.
Ugh.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll smooth it. The only time I ever want crunchy is like every once in a while I want my sandwich to be just a little different.
No, dude, I want smooth 25/8. Like
No, like crunchy whenever you're eating out of the jar, smooth when you're putting it into like any type of sandwich.
I'll eat peanut butter. I'll eat full peanuts. Don't put them together.
So weird.
I know.
I don't like jelly either, so I only have peanut butter sandwiches.
You don't like jelly?
Bro, I'm gonna
jelly.
do an incredible segue here. Y'all, what kind of bread do you use when you make sandwiches? Wheat bread?
Well, nowadays wheat. I used to really like artisan bread.
Yeah, I like artisan bread too. What about you, Lins?
I usually buy like a whole wheat bread.
Okay. You ever tried rye bread?
Never.
Yeah, I have. I don't really like it though.
See, neither did the people in Strasbourg apparently, because when rye gets
Oh my
damp, let's fucking go. Segue, baby. When rye gets damp, so sorry, I'm fucking it up now. When rye gets damped, when it's kept incorrectly, it can grow a special type of mold called ergot. Okay? Now, ergot, while sounding like a League of Legends character, is actually pretty dangerous. When ingested, it can cause hallucinations and violent twitching. Interesting little tidbit there, huh?
Yeah.
Fun fact, its hallucinations are so intense that it became the base ingredient of LSD-25.
Oh.
Interesting.
Yeah. So someone was like, this'll fuck you up. Bet we can make a sick drug out of it. And then they
Not
did.
surprised there.
It is also a prevailing theory of why the Salem witch trials happened.
Okay.
It's believed that the people who were holding the Salem witch trials thought these women were witches, not only because they were misogynistic, but because they had consumed ergot and were going crazy. When they said, I saw these women performing magic, they actually did, but it was a hallucination.
Huh. Okay. Well,
I just think that's a weird connection. And also the fact you brought up witches was like, what the fuck, dude?
Okay, so like all of these people were just getting high off of fucking rye bread?
But like dangerously high.
Okay.
In fact, this was such a common ailment in medieval times that it was most well known as St. Anthony's fire. The specific disease, St. Anthony's fire, by the way, can give you visions. It makes you fear the color red.
Weird.
Which is very weird, and also might have something to do with the red shoes thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I can see that.
And eventually, if left untreated, will send you into a trance-like state. The problem with the theory about ergot, though, because there's going to be a fucking problem with all these theories. Much like other infections of its kind, eventually it will work its way through your system, right? These people would have either died far, far sooner if this was left untreated, which it certainly was. They definitely would not have lasted like some of them for 2 fucking months like this. The only possible way that the ergot could have caused this is if A, it's a strain of ergot that doesn't exist anymore and we have absolutely zero record of, which seems unlikely, or B, they were ingesting more ergot every single day, getting treated for it so they wouldn't die, and then fed more. But that can't really be the case because eventually they stopped eating and drinking when they got to the trance-like state. So while ergot is the immediate what people are like, well, that mold was pretty common. It could do that. It doesn't perfectly work. A lot of these, by the way, remind me of Dyatlov Pass.
Oh, where it's like, these are possible.
Yeah, but there's always a glaring issue.
Yeah, okay.
Now, unfortunately, there is no gravitational flux phenomena because there were no tents.
That sucks.
Question, how cold was it there?
It was scorching hot, so we could not test if the zipper was frozen. Because if the zipper was frozen, case closed.
Yeah.
Because they can't freeze, as we know. This had to have been witchcraft.
Right, of course.
But let's talk about a little bit how there was yet another case of uncontrollable dancing in the 15th century from a town called Apulia in Italy, where a woman was bit by a tarantula and began convulsing while she was still standing up. Her body actually fought off the venom long enough that she was dancing for days, but likely in excruciating pain. This next bit I cannot confirm, but in some accounts, the woman quite literally shook the venom out and survived, which is just fucking crazy. I just want to put that in because I did see something that mentioned that, and that boggles my mind. I don't know.
I really don't think that's possible.
It reminds me of, since you said bloodbending earlier, it reminds me of the scene in Korra where she gets the metallic poison, metal bended out of her body.
Yeah.
Because Lynn can sense vibrations of metal and shit.
Yeah. Fun shows.
Actually, it was Toph. Spoilers. It was Toph who sensed the metal vibrations.
Was it? Okay.
Lynn and
because she's fine.
Because they weren't good enough to get it off.
Oh, I need to watch that again.
Well, yeah, no, I'm thinking of Lynn tried it the first time, or the sister did, right? And then Toph got the rest out and then said, "No, Korra, you have to do it yourself."
Right.
Dick move, by the way. Kind of a dick move.
Yeah, but she needed it.
Great point. Now, we've covered a couple of things. I told you, keep in your head. We covered the red shoes. We've covered the witch trials. But what was the third thing I told you to keep in your brain?
The saint, right?
Yeah.
Saint Vitus. You remember him? He was a Sicilian priest, according to legend, who cured the son of a Roman emperor named, I practice this, Diocletian, Roman Emperor Diocletian,
Sounds right.
Cured their son from what they believed was demon possession, but later was shown to be a form of epilepsy or some sort of mental illness, which of course is why St. Vitus became the patron saint of epilepsy and mental illness, because this is the legend he's known for. The child was known to convulse and twitch uncontrollably, familiar, and that St. Vitus, the way St. Vitus helped him was unknown. Nobody really knew what he did, but it did seem to stick. The kid appeared to be cured. Keeping that in mind, there is an autoimmune disease called Sydenham's chorea, or historically known as St. Vitus's dance. This disease forces the body to make random, rapid, jerking movements that primarily affect the face, the hands, and the feet. So if you see someone whose hands and feet are going fucking crazy, you might say that they kind of look like they're dancing.
Okay, yeah. See, that was my first thing. It just sounds like these people are having epileptic seizures, but it's the 1500s, so
Well, but that's the thing, right? Because they knew what seizures were. They knew what convulsion was. They had words for twitching, but they never used any of those terms, which is why it's that's what I thought as well, but wouldn't they have said that?
Well, yeah, but if it's this thing where it also affects the feet and the hands, I'm assuming they're oh, well, I know what an epileptic seizure looks like. That doesn't look like it.
Okay, yeah, maybe.
So I don't know. That's where my mind goes hearing this.
Fair. But let's talk about Sydenham's chorea, or St. Vitus's dance, right?
Sure.
The disease, as I said, forces the face, hands, and feet to move and jerk uncontrollably, rapidly. And while this sometimes occurs in isolation, it has a 20 to 30% chance, which if you don't know, epidemiology, that's a pretty high fucking chance. 20 to 30% chance to infect those who once had rheumatic fever, which was wildly common in the Middle Ages, as were most sicknesses. It can affect anyone from between a few weeks and 6 months. So we have a time frame that works here. And I just thought this was interesting. Sometimes it can be as mild as a sore throat.
Huh.
I just thought that was weird. But it is more prone to affect women. For example, Frau Trophia, who was the patient zero of this case, a woman.
Wait, no. Back up. I'm just thinking of the one person who's got a sore throat in that neighborhood, and they're like, don't say a word. Don't say a damn thing. Just never leave their house.
I just
I don't want no fever.
I just really don't think I'll look good in red shoes. So it is more prone to affect women like Frau Trophia, but can also affect men, such as the strongmen who eventually got it and the clergymen who eventually got it. The problem with this theory, though, is that it only really affects children from the ages of 5 to 15 and is exceedingly rare in adults. Potentially, this was another form of it that also affected adults, but we do not know. It's just another one that doesn't fit. Now, Adrian, you once again mentioned something earlier about it sounds like they all just went fucking nuts.
Yeah.
The prevailing theory, the one that most people agree upon, was put forward by American medical historian John Waller. Also, medical historian, apparently a real profession. Never would have thought of that. Now, John Waller gives a bit of a history lesson as a preamble to his theory, reminding us that during this period, the area was hit by famines, plagues, leprosy, and there was this new disease called syphilis that was just hitting everybody, right? People were under an absurd amount of stress, more than pretty much any generation likely, because around every single corner, every single minute, every single day, there was a chance that you might just drop dead.
Right.
No matter what you did, there was no such thing as safety in this time. Just think about the last couple years that we've lived through, where how people were reacting just to having to wear a mask. How people were reacting to the fact that there are shortages of shipping shortages, so I can't get my sweet potatoes or my chimkin, to how people were thinking about everything that was happening with COVID, how stir crazy people went in the last couple years. That time's 100.
Yeah, no, it sounds like a stressful last time.
Sounds pretty stressful. Now, Waller believes that this disease, he air quotes disease, was actually a case of mass psychosis. In fact, about 100 years prior to this, in a nearby town, villagers found themselves jumping and hopping without any control, and they were dying. They weren't dancing, they were just hopping around like little Easter bunnies. Also, along the Rhine River, which was nearby, multiple towns in 1374 also had outbreaks of dancing. The only common factor between these three events were the living conditions and death being around every corner. At all of these points, the living conditions were some of the worst they had been in the last 100 years. And so it happened one time, and then 100 years later, and then 100 years later. In the 1300s, 1400s, and then 1500s, right?
Okay.
According to Waller, the people in Strasbourg would have heard that these cases existed and had this subconscious belief that dancing curses or dancing plagues were a possibility, something that could just happen to you, leading to their brains essentially short-circuiting and entering a state of dancing psychosis themselves, because their brain said, this is a thing that can happen, so it's happening to me. It's like a reverse placebo.
Okay, but I feel like that doesn't 100% work because I'm assuming not everyone who got it knew that it was a thing that could happen.
But even if they didn't know that it was a thing could happen from the previous instances, they saw it happen to Frau Trophia. So it could happen to them.
Got it.
And then it happened to that guy, and then that guy, and then that guy, and then that guy, and now me. Because
Psychosomatic symptoms can really be fucky. So
exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's why people think that is the most probable theory. Personally, I like the Sydenham's chorea. Maybe it's just because it's connected to St. Vitus as well. And that was just a huge thread through this. It would make it a good story, it would be a good story element. But sometimes life isn't a story, Sometimes you just go fucking crazy.
I mean, I guess. I just don't 100% think that it's possible.
This whole thing sounds like bullshit, right?
Yeah.
Like, Lindsey, do you believe this? Does this sound like bullshit to you? I just saw her took a fucking monster bite of pizza.
Yeah, no,
it looks great.
Yeah.
But I was turning to say it, and as I finished the sentence and turned to the camera, I saw her just fucking noshing back there. But how do you feel about the dancing plague? Does this sound just like complete bullshit to you?
It sounds like complete bullshit, but it also sounds like something that someone would absolutely record in the Middle Ages.
Yeah. This isn't like the celestial phenomena over Nuremberg where it was like that was on a broadsheet, right? Like that's sensationalized. That is likely bullshit. There was probably just a solar eclipse and they were like, let's make it cooler. This is recorded by priests, physicians, fucking poets, the clergymen, the village elders, people from like other places around there. We know this happened. This isn't just like they made it up. Many, many sources corroborate that this occurred, but it sounds fucking insane.
That sounds well. Like I said, my mind immediately goes to like those movies that I watched where like it's just witches dancing,
Mm-hmm.
and it sounds very much like what you just described. It's probably like
Loosely based on it, yeah.
But like, I mean, if we're to think of like the extraordinary, my mind goes straight to witchcraft.
Mm-hmm.
It's just these like Italian witches or French
Mhm.
witches.
What about a witch from Belgium?
Yes.
Oh, Lindsay, you weren't here for
right,
that
she
bit.
wasn't
So
here.
one of our early episodes that we never put out because it was kind of poo-poo was we were talking about the Voynich manuscripts. But it's just it's a very visual medium. It's hard to bring into audio.
Yeah.
But Adrian mentioned French witches, and Jeremy called them fritches. So French witches
I like
call them
that.
fritches,
Yeah.
right? But then I asked him, Jeremy, what would you call a Belgian witch?
Yeah.
She's muted, but she's laughing.
I took a sip of water as he was saying that, and I understood immediately.
He did not get it, and I had to be like, bitches, Jeremy. And he was like, oh. It's my favorite joke that is completely lost to the ether.
I guess now it's not.
I get, yeah, whatever.
It doesn't have the same
Every
impact.
time I hear someone talk about Belgium, I think of my two friends that back in Atlanta who are Dutch twins, and which makes me think Dutch, which makes me think of Terraria now, because our Terraria playthrough, I'm playing a female character, and their pain noises sounds like an angry Dutch woman making a weird noise.
I think you said it sounds like a Dutch mom who got the wrong order.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, the dancing plague, it was present in the Holy Roman Empire for nearly 300 years in areas that are now modern-day Germany and France. It's been seemingly eradicated out of nowhere for whatever reason ever since, because there have been 0 cases of this for almost 500 years.
I mean, fucking. Apparently, the Black Plague is coming back.
Well, it's not the same thing, it's just similar.
No, but like,
But yeah.
Maybe this will come back one day, and then we can more closely study it.
Okay, Caustic.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, he made a little
Yeah,
wiggle
I
and a
didn't-
little smile when he said that.
I didn't like your little smile there.
I'm just saying, like, I want to get to the bottom of this. Like, if I could have a test subject that, is infected with this. Don't look at me like that.
Well,
at
you
least
heard him
these
here,
days-
folks. If you subscribe and we get 100 subscribers, Lindsay will eat Fritos directly into the bag. And if we get 150 subscribers, Jeremy's in space somewhere. Adrian won't destroy the world with the dancing plague.
This is why we have ethical standards now, and Adrian wouldn't meet any of them.
Oh, well, to be fair, we don't have any ethical standards on this show.
Ethics don't matter. When,
Okay, that's fair.
Scientific inquiry is involved.
I don't know why I thought you were about to be like, ethics don't matter when I'm the ruler of the world.
To be fair, I would be a great ruler.